Hey everyone, so we are actually starting this video inside my house. It's a little different because I wanted to start by harvesting my Aerogardens. So I have some Aerogardens behind me right here on this shoe shelf, and I have them very high up because I have a little kitty cat that likes to mess with them, and I have a toddler and he doesn't mess with them so much anymore, but he used to when he was younger. So I've got my giant harvest basket, and mostly what we'll be harvesting today is herbs, and I have something really exciting to show you all. And I just got my hair cut, so if I look a little different, that's why. But I thought I would show you my Aerogardens and what's going on in there and what I'll be harvesting today. So I have three of my Aerogardens set up right now, and I actually have more, but these are my favorites. So some of these, hold on, I'm trying to set my little basket down. Okay, my house is very small, so anyway, sorry. So this Aerogarden is mostly lemon basil, and then there's also actually cilantro in there. It gets really crazy in here because the pods are so close together, and that's my one complaint about the Aerogardens. But there's the cilantro. It's not doing as well as the lemon basil, but like I've been chopping this like pretty regularly and it's just crazy. My arm's gonna get really tired because these are very high up. And then in this one I have kale, which what I do is I harvest the bottom leaves off of it and then they just keep growing. And then I have this is a little experiment. It's like a cracky jar, I think it's called. So it's just like full of water and then nutrients, and it's doing pretty good. My tomatoes are not doing good. So they produced a lot of tomatoes, and I've actually picked quite a few off, and I have even more that are like ready to go. But they just look very sad. So I'm troubleshooting this. Once I figure out how to grow tomatoes in the Aerogarden, I'll make a video about it. And then the other thing I have in here is some basil, and this is like the Genovese basil, I think. And I actually just chopped the top off. So when you harvest basil, sorry, it's really hard to see because there's a lot of plants here. When you harvest basil, you want to harvest it from the main stem here. And you see those little side stems? It will grow out, and that's how you get basil to be bushy instead of just like a single stem. So that's how you get more basil. So I'll use the basil that I harvested off of there to make my pesto as well. But I wanted to show you how I do it. Guys, I turned around for 1 second. Are you kidding me right now? Hey, I'm gonna harvest some stuff. What are you doing? That's my basket. Get out of there. You're so cute. So it was extremely windy out. I think it's about to storm, so that is actually why I wanted to get this done. So I'm just gonna do a voiceover here. I will be harvesting oregano. That's this big bushy plant here, and I basically harvest it the exact same way that I harvest the basil, just cutting the main stem, not the leaves. So you want to make sure you get the stem, not just the leaves. And I trim this pretty heavily, and it's totally fine. It will grow back. It's actually extremely prolific, and it gets crazy. This basil plant is several years old. Oh, sorry, oregano plant is several years old, and it always comes back. I do make sure to leave at least, I would say, half to a third of the plant there for it to, you know, be able to come back pretty quickly. And I just do this throughout the season to keep my plants looking really nice, and it also helps them become more bushy instead of like one stem, you know. So I do the same way I do the basil, but that's what I harvested from there. It was so windy out. It was like crazy. And there's my little harvest so far. I grabbed some of the kale from the Aerogarden as well. And then here I am harvesting the lemon balm. This is my husband's favorite thing for tea. And so I put this plant from a pot into my actual raised garden bed. And it's actually a pretty prolific plant, and it will kind of take over this bed. But I'm totally fine with that because he really likes it, and I also really like it. I think it's really good, and I just love the smell of it. I'm not a huge tea drinker. That's why I say he likes it. I don't tend to drink a lot of tea, but it smells really good, and it really smells like lemony fresh, so I highly recommend growing lemon balm. It's super easy to grow, just it's really low maintenance, so I like this one as well. It's just nice to rub your hand over it, and it smells like so good and lemony. And I also decided to chop the tops off some of my onion plants. Someone commented on my last video that if I chop the tops off, it will help them bulb out. I have no idea if that's true. If it is, that's awesome because I love green onions and I would love to just be able to use these as green onions as well. I only did it to about 4 of the plants because I was worried that it would not do good things for the plant, but I figured, what the heck, try it out and I'll have some green onions for dinner. Alright, so here's the most exciting thing that I was wanting to show you all. So I got these mushroom blocks for composting, and a few of them grew some small mushrooms that, you know, they just keep growing. But look at this mushroom. I'm just gonna pick it so we can see it. Holy moly. Some buggies on it. But, oh my gosh. Do you see that? Tell me that's not insane. That is the biggest mushroom. I don't even know if it's gonna taste good. Ew, there's little buggies on it. They're little beetles. Ugh. Sorry, I'm not a bug lover, but anyways, look at that. Isn't that crazy? I showed this on my Instagram. I am like amazed by this. I have no idea if it's gonna taste any good, but it looks awesome. So I will be dehydrating the oregano and also the lemon balm in my dehydrator, and I just do it on the lowest setting possible, and I set it for like 6 hours, and then I'll check it and then continue on. You can remove the stems from the oregano if you would like. It personally doesn't really bother me. Usually when I'm cooking with it, I just like crumple off the stems and then I just compost those, and it doesn't bother me. But if you want like a ready-made, like you don't have to worry about the stems later, you can remove them. You can also do it after it's dried. And then for the lemon balm, I just leave the stems on it because we're going to be using it for tea. So it's my husband's favorite tea, so I'm hoping to dry a lot of that this year. Last year I dried enough oregano and rosemary, and we literally just ran out of it. And I'll show you, this is actually catnip that I dried, but this is pretty much what the lemon balm will end up looking like. And then I'll show you as well, I've started to dry some rosemary, and I will just be adding to these jars throughout the season, and hopefully we'll have nice full jars by the end of it, and we'll have dried herbs. So the only other thing I'll say about dehydrating herbs in the dehydrator is make sure you don't dehydrate herbs that you don't want tasting like each other. And I don't usually find a problem with most herbs, but the one thing I probably wouldn't dry would be anything like oniony or anything like a really strong flavor that you don't want your other herbs to taste like. So just keep that in mind. I don't have a problem with these two being together, but yeah, that's something to think about. And then I just went ahead and washed all this basil and then the green onions and the kale, and these I'll put in dinner tonight. And then I will be making a pesto with these as well. Not right now because my son is napping, but yeah, I might show you that when we're done. I probably will freeze it because we literally just had pasta last night, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna do with that.